Why is the UK so liberal on gambling?
So I think it can all be traced back to the Gambling Act of 2005. This allowed firms to advertise sports betting, casinos, and poker on TV and radio kind of for the first time. And somewhat unbelievably, until 2014, gambling companies based offshore could even sell to British customers without a UK license. But crucially, the law predated the arrival of the smartphone, and betting firms have been exploiting that blind spot ever since, developing aggressive, habit-forming games tailor-made for obsessive gambling, and cashing in while a significant section of their customers racked up huge losses. And while there have been several attempts to tighten regulation of the sector, the gambling industry has been very, very effective at lobbying successive UK governments that it should be left alone.
But Gavin, what are we looking at? Is this addiction, and does it show the direction of travel that other countries could take when it comes to people, losing a lot of money by gambling online?
Yeah, I think it does. What has happened in the UK in the last decade, the surging rates of gambling addiction, hundreds of suicides every year. Estimates put it at more than one suicide a day due to gambling-related harm. It's an object lesson in the dangers confronting the US as it emerges as the new frontier for gambling. Most US states have now liberalized their gambling laws in the last couple of years to allow online gaming. And all the big gambling companies are now queuing up around the block to try and repeat the same successes, as they see it, as they've had in Europe, in the US.
So, Gavin, why have, first of all, online casino games become so popular in the UK?
So it all comes back to the smartphone. The iPhone really did change everything. Suddenly people had a portable device with this large screen, internet connection, a lot of processing power, and that was just perfect for these online casino games. Gambling companies have spent a lot of time and a lot of money designing these games to be highly attractive, and the smartphone was the sort of perfect delivery device for them. You no longer need to walk into some forbidding-looking gambling store off the high street to place a bet. You can do it anytime you like. You can do it on your commute, on the sofa, in bed. Everyone now has a virtual casino in their pocket.
And so this is why it's probably a lot more dangerous than other gambling products, right? These online casino games. What are we doing about regulation? There's also software, you put your, email address and saying, I don't want to gamble anymore, and it stops, most gambling sites on your phone.
Yeah, so that's GamStop, and that has been a game changer for many gamblers, but it's reliant on the individual, the addict, to kind of isolate themselves, which is a pretty flawed approach anyway, because addicts generally don't make the best decisions. But secondly, GamStop is relatively easy to get around. There are hundreds of websites out there kind of giving tips on how people can get around that ban once they have self-excluded themselves. And in our story today, we feature a sort of case study of one guy who did get around it. He was only doing it for sort of research purposes, but he shows how easy it is to get around. So the kind of the consumer protection, I guess, has been outsourced to the individual, to the gambler. That's the issue.